Alrighty guys, hello and welcome back to the show. So, we got a 4v4 coming your way today, coming down on Project Albus, which is a very aesthetically pleasing map. I don't know, to me at least. It also feels weird to introduce a game on a map that is not Neuroxus map generator, but yeah, we found one today, matter of fact. So, let's get into introducing our players. We got Team 1 up at the top, Team 2 down at the bottom, as is tradition. Starting off in the north, we have the saddest panda. That's it. At first, I thought this was like a Jar Jar Binks kind of thing, where it was like something something. But anyway, yeah, the saddest panda going Seraphim, opening first land. His ally to the south, we have Lexicon 7, who is going UEF, opening first land, getting to work on that hydrocarbon. To the west, we have Curely, who is going Seraphim, opening first land. And last but not least, for team numero uno, we have Kinders 5129 going Cybran, opening first land. Best faction, my money on team 1 this game. Let's shift over to team number 2. We have Nonsense as a name. He's going Aeon, opening first land. I don't know if this is an actual thing or if he just like headbutted his keyboard, but yeah, we'll call him Nonsense. Aeon first land, second air, I believe, and then third land. Down to the south, we have Morrow, who is going Seraphim, opening first land. To the west, we have Early Doors going Aeon, opening first land. And last but not least, and this one, I guess it's a toss-up, we have Chenbro 101 going Cybran, opening first land. Okay, so now I'm split. I don't know whether I like team 1 or team 2. I've always been more more of an affinity towards bluish colors. I don't know, they seem a little cooler than the reddish colors in both temperature and in just overall American coolness factor. So anyway, I guess yeah, maybe we root for the bottom team this time. And a little bit of lab and scout action coming out from Early Doors. Going to be blocking off this Mex. An unsuspecting engineer like this one from Lexicon might become a victim to that. Similar little raiding party over here as well. So Early Doors getting some early access on the map with some raiding parties. You like what I did there? Except these guys may run into a comm here, and this raiding party might be really short-lived. And yep, that is going to be the case. They're going to run right into Curely's commander here. Curely going to knock them down. I didn't know flares took 2 commander shots. More you know. Yeah, 115 HP. Who'da thunk it? Outside of that, though, just a little bit of scouting, mostly from team number 2. We do have a couple of scouts out from Lexicon that are not really going anywhere necessarily. And I'm really glad I found a replay that was not on Neuroxus map generator, because I feel like with Neuroxus, and this is something that I've gotten into as well, I'm going to start trying to find more maps that are more games that are not Neuroxus, because I've noticed that just overall mex density is really high on Neuroxus, and that's mostly because players like myself just crank the mex density to the max, because more mass means more toys and bigger toys. But these kind of games allow for a little bit more of a little slower developments maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. But I felt like introducing a little spice, a little variety, the spice of life, as it were, as we have an airdrop coming out from the saddest panda, grabbing himself some land factories on this little plateau, while his opponent Nonsense is just walking his commander out there. And the same with the panda. Panda's walking his comm out there too. And it looks like we're going to have kind of 2 commanders walking down the middle, so Lexicon and Curely. And then the commanders on the flanks are going to be facing off here on these little plateau wings kind of things. And see how it ends up shaking out. A little bit of early bomber harass here out of Lexicon. 3 kills already on his name on that bomber. Looks to be going after just some power right now. Going to get shot down though by some interceptors. There we go. 3 kills though, assuming those are engineers. It might have been this raiding party though. You never 100% sure. 3 engineers, not great. And a little bit of forward pressure as well coming out from a Lexicon. Forward mexes already set up, and an engineer here from early doors is going to take an early exit out of that door. We're going to be making that joke a lot, so get used to it. And interceptors tangling in the skies. But no huge threat as of yet. Probably your earliest clash with, you know, actual armies is going to be either here or maybe up in the northern side, as we have the Saddest Panda and Nonsense facing off, as well as early doors with his commander walking forward, clean up a little bit of this Tech 1 spam. And then down at the south, a little bit of pressure. Never mind. There's just the, you know, action breaking out everywhere. Chenbro. Going to put some pressure on the forward manufacturing here for Kinder. Kinder with a lot of civilians up here. Not as many military units, but the ones that he does have should be able to deal with this initial pressure, especially because his manufacturing is so close. Be able to bag himself a bomber real quick, but early pressure is going to throw Kinder a little off balance here, so he's going to have to walk his comm back, meaning he sacrifices these 3 mexes to Chenbro. Little moves like that make differences, guys. You know, like the time my opponent decided to make 40 scouts and then just rush my base. And for those of you who don't watch my ladder matches, you might think that's a mistake on my opponent's side. It was not. It was actually quite devastating. Really funny. Yeah, go watch my latest ladder match if you haven't. If you want to see how that ended up turning out, because it was quite entertaining. So we got some more bomber harass out from Chenbro. There is an interceptor out from Kinder taking care of it, but these bombers more on the way. Luckily, AA is going to be able to get up, but not before several of these engineers are going to pay with their lives. Only, or at least 10 or 12. But only 3 are remaining. Gun speed and range coming out for nonsense, or gun speed, sorry, coming out for Nonsense now. Probably got gun range queued up right after that. Panda going for a point defense instead of upgrading his commander. Interesting choice. The point defense will be able to give him, well, he's also not building the wall sections around it, so that's also not great, especially, well, actually, I was going to say that maybe the Aeon range was actually going to help, but no, it's actually hurting because Aeon tanks have little to no armor. And yeah, gun range now coming out from Nonsense. And notice that y'all have asked in the comments that I just leave this locked on overall mass income instead of having it fluctuate around with reclaim, or just making sure that I change it back. So I'll just lock it to mass income, and then if there's anything important like on reclaim numbers, then you know we'll address that as it comes. But right now I'll just leave it locked to mass income. Let me know if that's what you guys were looking for in the comments, or if you guys like it shuffling around. Sometimes I find that there is a small but very vocal group of people that likes things a certain way, and that's not how everybody likes it. So, you know, let me know if this is how you guys like it, because ultimately the viewing experience for you, lovely dear viewer, is the most important thing for me. Early doors facing off against Kierley's commander here. Kierley with nano as well as gun upgrade. Early doors with only the gun speed and range on his commander. Is going to have a range advantage, but of course there's nowhere near as beefy as Kierley with that nano comm, and doesn't even want to face off really against it. I think he has superior Tech 1 forces there. He could probably force an engagement if he really wants to, but it's always scary going up against a Seraphim Nano commander. And now that I say that, a lot of these are labs in this mix, and early doors working with about 60% of the HP, so probably not a fight that he wants to take, actually. Early doors kind of middle of the road whenever it comes to ranking on team number 2. So not the highest rated player, but definitely, you know, is going to hurt if he ends up making an early exit here. Is now deciding to fight it out. Curely treated a lot of his Tech 1 units. Same with early doors, though. Doors needs to get his Tech 1 units in this fight because that's the only way he's going to be able to level this playing field against the Nanocom, and I think that he just might have done it a little bit too late here, as now his units are blocking him from making a mistake, and Curely gonna bag himself, I think, his first kill here, as he shows early doors the door and tells him to get out early. Never mind, we're not going to be making that joke the whole time, because early doors made an early exit. But his unit's going to transition over to Nonsense, who is the 1700 rated player, so highest rated player on team number 2. So Nonsense, the lucky recipient of 2 bases, which is always what you want to see in a full share game if you are on team 1's side, is that, you know, you've gifted over 2 bases to one of the higher rated players on the opposite team. One of the downsides of full share, but unfortunately there's not a whole lot of ways that you can mitigate it, as Kinder and Chenbro giving each other a couple of love taps. Both of these guys with gun upgrade as well as stealth. A little Cybran Civil War going on here. Just seem to be happy, just absolutely beating the crap out of each other. Tech 2, though, out for Kinder. We have a hoplite. A couple of hoplites, actually. And Chenbro going to throw all of his Tech 1 forces forward. It's maybe some kind of smoke screen or some bluff of strength. And then promptly retreat them. Okay. It's like a move I would make. It's like, surely if I throw all of my Tech 1 forces forward, the commander will get scared. And I think Kinder has seen that one before and is not super scared. Saddest Panda now going for nano repair on his commander. We also have Tech 2 now out for Nonsense. He's got a couple of blazes out on the field. And I was going to say upgrading. No, there's the kind of forward manufacturing factory for that Tech 2 force. And I'm assuming that Curely as well as Morrow are going to be playing air. So from an air perspective, we do have Tech 3 out for Morrow, getting his air grid set up. He's making ASFs right now. That might be the first one to come off the line. I don't see any others out right now. And then Curely, a little bit further behind, only just now getting his HQ up. So Curely, a little bit behind the 8 ball whenever it comes to air. We'll see how his team decides that they want to deal with that. But more pressing issues are that this comm is rooted to the spot on a shield upgrade right now. Luckily, he's got plenty of Tech 2 units around him to be able to make short work of that. Shield upgrade will complete. Nano upgrade should have completed now for Panda, who is now moving forward. Although for Panda, I'm not seeing any Tech 2 units in his mix right now, so still rolling with Tech 1 and going for the Seraphim super ballsy commander strat of just raw dogging it with a nanocom and gun. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. You never know. Actually, you do know. You know whenever it doesn't work, because your commander dies or you lose the game. Both of which are kind of the same outcome, I guess. And the Cybran Civil War continues, and Chenbro actually not looking super healthy here. But the Rhinos this time might... What is Chenbro doing? Okay, he could have got away clean there. He was not in range of mutual for Kinder. So the Cybran Civil War has now come to a close. It was the South side that lost, which is, you know, very fitting. Except for the fact that the Cybran kind of represent more Soviet, I guess, ideals. I don't know, in kind of the lore. And I think the UEF is kind of more NATO, Western powers. So, you know, I don't know. Did Russia ever have a civil war? Like a formal civil war where like somebody broke off. I'm not talking about, I guess you could classify like the revolution against the Tsarist regime whenever Marx and Stalin actually took power to be a civil war. That wasn't really like a North versus South kind of thing. Although now that I'm thinking about it, I think most civil wars don't really have like one side of the country formally seceding to be another country like the United States did with the Union and the Confederacy. So I don't know. My world history knowledge, though, is not as good as my U.S. history knowledge, naturally, because, you know, I'm an American, so. So we got Tech 2, Tech 1 units now pushing in from Kinder, trying to capitalize on Chenbro's eviction. Chenbro has gifted over all of his units to Nonsense. So Nonsense now has 3 bases. This is not... It's kind of like a double-edged sword, right? Like, ideally, and the math behind it is that if you have somebody who is a 1K rated player and somebody who is a 1700 rated player, there is the third economy, the third resource in Forge Alliance, which is actions per minute. So technically, killing Chenbro is good because you damage that hidden third metric of team number 2, which means that they don't have as many actions per minute to go around as a team. Kind of the problem with Forge Alliance, though, in this is that the way resources are done and distributed means that one player, even with, like, say, 50 actions per minute, is still able to transform a base into an absolute juggernaut of an economy relatively quickly. So the way to deal with this, and I'm no pro here, but usually it's just go full offense and try and make sure that Nonsense, in this case, is unable to get any sort of economy rolling off of this base. Ideally level this base as quickly as possible, which is what I think Kinder is trying to do here by just going all out offensive. Especially because he knows there's not going to be a commander that's going to be overcharging his units in the way. So trying to go full offense here. We'll see how it plays out. But the hoplites, I think, need to get deeper into the economy, although that's going to be difficult because there are now Tech 3 units out on the field. So that's not great, and that's going to limit the overall loyalist effectiveness. But I think that Kinder has kind of the right idea. You just go all-out offensive whenever you kick a player out of the game. Try and throw, you know, the higher-rated player or the player that is doing better that inherited that base. Try and throw them as much into a defensive posture as possible. Because if they're on the defense, it means that they're not hurting you. Unfortunately, Nonsense seems to be in a relatively good spot up here in the north, so is hurting the Satis Panda. Got a little run by up here. Tech 3 units are now forming up. Luckily for the Satis Panda, he does have Othams out. Forward Tech 3 land factory as well, so should be able to at least hold on to control of the plateau, but he is going to lose at least 1 mechs here. There's a lot of point defense to invest in one mechs. And then down on the south, Kinder's push going to be stalled out from the brick. Has now come out. As long as Nonsense is paying attention to this brick and continues following these units, which he is not, So that means these rhinos will be able to maybe make it into the... Jesus Christ. I really thought the range on that brick was shorter than it is. Are going to be able to bag some mexes, though. Brick is now being microed as well. Another one comes off, so this little raiding party, I think, is only going to be able to claim 2 mexes. Both of these were Tech 2 by the looks of it. So shouldn't be too terribly difficult to replace, especially whenever you have a decent economy, like Nonsense does at 230 mass per second income. Now Titans facing off against Harbingers. Lexicon letting the Blaze and the Harbinger get by. Okay, Percival will be able to put a stop to this before any real damage is done. And then another, okay, so Nonsense going full aggro. He's kicked all of his Tech 3 units into overdrive, and now Curely's commander does have nano and guns, so he's not 100% helpless and should have access to overcharge. Yeah, so we're seeing some overcharges get thrown out. Lots of point defense too. They, okay, are going to be able to get a mechs as well as a shield generator. But that might be it. I think these remaining mexes will be saved. For Kinder. Oh, and that's going to be another eviction out of the Saddest Panda. Looks like he got cornered by a bunch of Tech 3 units. So lowest level player now getting taken down on the side of team number 1. Units will transition over to Lexicon, who's now going for a tactical missile upgrade, a very optimistic tactical missile upgrade while under siege from Nathas and gunships. Does have a Cougar in the area. It is doing the Natha shuffle here, just running in circles trying to dodge all these bombs. I think he got all of them. Now just needs to deal with the rest of the gunships, but he should be okay with nano. Right? Where did that Cougar go? There it is. Okay, it's taking a nap. Okay, finally ASF response. Lexicon will walk himself out of that one, but that was a pretty close shave there for the man in orange. See if are there any, like, I don't know, bigger projects, experimentals, anything like that on the way yet for Nonsense, because he definitely has the eco for it. He seems to be focused very heavily on just cranking out as many Tech 3 units as possible. And, you know, he's holding for now, except for up north where he is definitely advancing. Several Harbingers as well as a couple of Tech 2 tanks and some flak in tow. Be able to deal with any air response. A single hero siege tank is going to come hold the line. And then takes one look at that army and is like, no. No thanks. I choose life. Run himself back to the base. Trying to get as many of these Othams cranked out as possible, but 3 Othams versus, I don't know, 15 Harbingers. It's not a good fight. Well, sorry, 5 Othams. Still not great odds. Getting some point defense thrown down as well. And gunships now showing up from Curely. Try and deal with this as well. Has not dealt with the flak yet. We still have mobile flak. There it goes. Now it's down, but the Harbingers are now into the base and into the eco. Gonna bag themselves a couple of core mexes here. And the Tech 3 HQ, so that seems to be the priority. Also want to get this Tech 3 mechs down here. That's important. Little air engagement goes overhead as well between Marrow and Kearley. Kearley with, I think, significantly better ASF micro there, though, is going to win, even though Marrow did have superior numbers. But Nonsense is going to take out the 3 Tech 2 mexes, does miss out on taking out this Tech 3 mex, though, and does deposit a ton of reclaim in Panda's old base here. I think the name of the game for Nonsense right now is just Tech 3 armies just trying to push everywhere at the same time. I mean, I think he's definitely doing damage. We do have, but Team 1 is raking in more mass right now per second than Team number 2, and I am going to flip over to Reclaim right now. Are getting superior Reclaim numbers as well, though, so you have less mass overall. You have less mass coming in, and you're feeding a ton of Reclaim, and this is going to be something where unless Nonsense is able to do some real critical infrastructure damage here in the next couple minutes, this is going to come back to, I think, bite. I think going to bite him. All right, next push. Harbingers and shields. Kind of trying to, I guess, skirt that little group of Percivals there, going after Kearley's forward, I guess, engineer reclaim manufacturing. Wipe that off the face of the map. We now have Whalers coming out from Kearley, so he was gifted some Cybran tech as well. ASF response from Marrow is going the wrong way. Still going the wrong way. Alright, well, that push is going to stall out then because of the Whalers. To be fair, Nonsense probably should have sent some, you know, AA with that. And didn't. First experimental, it does get finished up here from Kinder, so we got a Monkey Lord. Don't think the Team 2 knows about that yet. Marrow does decide to take the air fight, though, and will destroy all of Kearley's ASF and stick around for some Whalers as a little bit of an extra prize. Interceptors coming in from Lexicon. That's a really idealistic approach. But Lexicon now pushing back as well with his own Tech 3 force. Still has to worry about this army up north, which we'll actually punch in on. Actually, let's go ahead and head down to... Wow, that Monkey Lord moved fast, unless there was another Monkey Lord that was created earlier that I just missed, which is really possible. And Tech 1 bombers seems to be the responsive choice coming out of Marrow. Bricks are on the retreat. Tech 1 bombers have now found their target. Maybe found their target. There they go. Now they're actually attacking. But Monkey is going to cause some pretty significant damage to infrastructure here, while depositing a bunch of reclaim on the doorstep. Oh, and I completely thought these were Nonsense's bricks. They are not. They are, in fact, Kinder's bricks. So, add insult to injury, you now have a bunch of bricks that you gotta clean up. These Tech 1 bombers should be able to do it. provided they, you know, stay on task and don't wander off aimlessly. Before the bombers do too much damage. This is a good opportunity to just use attack move. That way these bombers all attack different targets, because right now it seems like they're all focusing on the forward one. Or just leave them on auto attack. Which I guess is kind of what attack move is. But yeah, that's a good amount of infrastructure damage there for Nonsense. Nonsense going with his, you know, tried and true play of amass tech 3 units and send them forward. This time he does have AA. He has a couple flak, which is good. And this time it looks like he's going after Kierley. Lexicon, though, finishes up a Fat Boy just in the nick of time. Tech 1 bombers could zero that Fat Boy immediately, I think. Maybe. Except they're going after Lexicon's commander. It is idealistic to say the least. Because Lexicon, he knows the Notha shuffle. He knows how to run in circles. So he'll be able to shrug that one off. Now we have the Tech 3 push coming in under kind of cover of this mountain, which you would think would be doing more, but it does seem like the Fat Boy is still able to hit these harbs. Now we have Tech 1 bombers out for Kierley. As well as whalers, some point defense thrown in for good measure as well. You want to go after the power, which is exactly what Nonsense is doing here. Take out one of these power generators, and then all of a sudden the whole thing will go up like a zipper. There it goes. Okay. Does not get the HQ though. That's critical, but does take out the entire air grid outside of the HQ and one Tech 2 power generator. And takes out Lexicon for good measure. Little sneaky strat run. Too many things going on here. Kierley does make it through thanks to his nano upgrade. Otherwise, he might have died there. Those strats did, I think, about 12,000 HP of damage, so he might not have survived. Do have another Monkey Lord pushing in down the south. Man, there's just stuff going on all over the place. I'll link the replay down below if you guys, you know, want to be able to go and see the rest of anything that I'm missing here. There is also a push going on up here as well. We can try going to split screen. We'll see how this works. All right, bombers taking down Harbs leveled what was the Satis Panda's base and are now threatening Lexicon's base. Down here, excuse the terrible camera work. Monkey is still advancing. Are going to lose a couple of factories, but by and large, it looks like the Fat Boy is going to be able to hold the line here. And Lexicon's old base is not entirely leveled, does end up losing one Tech 3 mechs as an air fight does ensue. Kierley needs to be pretty careful about the air fights that he takes from here on out, though, because he pretty much has no ASF production anymore. needs to get a hell of a lot more power. What does his power actually look like? Actually, he's overflowing a ton because he inherited these Tech 3P gens. Is actually, you know, just not even focusing a ton on rebuilding his air grid. He's just going all in on the Fat Boy. So one Fat Boy done. Another on the assembly line right now. And a little bit of quiet as we bask in the beautiful music of Percival's murdering civilians. See that? Boom. It's music to my ears, the UEF war machine. Okay, Curely finishes another Fat Boy. Is Kinder still making experimentals? It doesn't look like he is. He does have a nuke that is just completed. Not loaded yet, obviously, because it was, you know, just completed. SMDs for the lower team. Southern team. We do have an SMD here for Marrow with 2 loaded in the pipe. And then for Nonsense, do we have an SMD? I am not seeing one. Doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, but it kind of means that it doesn't exist. So Nonsense without an SMD, which is just utter malarkey, as he's fending off this little Percival encroachment. More Percivals up here. So Curely is now gone into full Fat Boy and Percival production. Air Grid is starting to rematerialize slowly. Put a little bit more build power on it, including his commander, which he has actually converted over to RAS and Nano. Interesting. So no more gun for Curely. And earlier, whenever I said that I was checking for more experimentals out of Kinder and said that there wasn't any, I obviously lied. We do have a crab. That is, you know, crabbing it up here in the middle. I'm really surprised we have not seen any experimentals out of Nonsense yet. Unless I'm missing any. Which obviously never happens. I never miss anything. Curely finishes another Fat Boy. So that is 3 obese children and a crab. Bearing down Team 2's throat here. Which crabs, you know. I'm down with eating some good Alaskan crabs. Not down with the cannibalism, though. That is, that's where I draw the line. This might be an APM issue for Nonsense here. Either that or a scouting issue, because he does seem to be taking some rather poor engagements and donating a good amount of reclaim. Going back to reclaim numbers, I'm just curious. Nowhere near as dramatic as I thought. I really thought Team 1 would be way ahead whenever it came to reclaim. Total mass, they're about 280,000 up on Team 2, and then back to mass income, because I'm remembering to set it back. Although I don't think these Percivals are actually taking a great engagement here either. They're pushing into quite a bit of Tech 2-point defense, as well as a whole flight of Voltus. Alright, there's that nuke. Where's that going? It is going after Nonsense's main base. Nonsense obviously has not built an SMD. Okay, he has built an SMD since we looked last, but it is not loaded. And that is all that matters. So, trying to evac as much build power as well as his commander. I think his commander is going to be able to get out of that blast range. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, he's good. Well, he thought it was over there. That was a pretty big hit to their eco, though. Eco dropped by about 120 mass income per tick just by taking out that base. Maybe a little more. So, already making a bad situation worse for Team 2 whenever it comes to eco. And now it's just, you know, roll this army in. Ideally with AA, because there's a lot of Voltus out there. Or just do like Sam Creep, I guess, down the middle of the map. Although I'd recommend, you know, using MAA. One thing that is often forgotten... Oh, thanks, Panda. He's reminding me. One thing that is often forgotten, mostly by me, but I'm sure by other people. Fat Boys are experimental mobile factories, so you can use them to make flak. I forget about it all the time. They're actually pretty good. Yeah, that's a good science video to do. And yeah, Hyper, if you're watching, you've I know you've sent me a couple of science video recommendations. They are in the pipe. I think you've sent me one like 3 times now. And yes, it is an interesting topic. I need to do it. I will do it. Okay? Eventually. I love you, buddy. Fat Boys coming down the middle, though. With, no AA. At all. Volthus. I could have sworn there were more Volthus than that, but maybe some of them got taken out. So Volthus can come in and be able to disrupt this, especially because Curely has not really focused on air production. We do also have a bunch of Nothos as well. So as long as they focus on one Fat Boy and then another instead of spreading out their fire, should be good. Which, all right, Notha is going to go after this first Fat Boy. That should bring down its shields. Okay, almost brought down its shields. There might be AA in this mix now. I think I'm seeing Cougar fire from somewhere. Oh yeah, there is one Cougar back here. All right. Focusing down this Fat Boy. Curely's air response is across the map, but on its way. First Fat Boy is down. Now Marrow needs to make sure that he doesn't lose these gunships. Caster Curse. Second Fat Boy survives with just a sliver of HP. We have another run by. Well, I mean, I can't even really call this a run by because this is a pretty big lane of attack. Strategic launch detected. But the Saddest Panda's old base is going to get taken down again. We have another nuke out, this time going after Chenbro's old base, which has been leveled like 7 or 8 times this game. Once by bricks, once by a monkey lord, once by a crab. And now by nuclear weapons. We've gone all the way from sticks and stones to biological warfare to nuclear weapons. You know, the whole cycle of life. And we do have a Owasso. It is now dead. Bright side, though, it did take out a couple of Myrmidons on its way down. So, you know. Good on it. Things are not looking great, though, for Team 2 at this point. They are going to level this base again. So, Saddest Panda's old base has been leveled. Talk about bases that have been leveled. Apparently, this slot, bases just die here a lot. And now we're coming back to sticks and stones as the bricks are once again rolling in. Just come full circle. And then we do have a crab back here. So now that can level the space again. And then the nuke will be probably loaded by then. And we'll go around and around as we go again. But the Fat Boys and the crabs, I think are going to end this game. Not the response here from Marrow. Going to get annihilated by Bobo Flak that is in the background. Chenbro's base. Going to get taken out again, except this time I guess we're switching up the order. It depends on whether the bricks get there first or the crab gets there first. And I think this might be whenever Team 2 decides to pull the ripcord and call it. It looks like they're saying go next. As Early Doors bemoaning the fact that he decided to take an early exit out of this game through the door. Thought we were done with that joke. We're not done with that joke yet. Maybe we are now, depending on whether Team 2 decides to call it here or not. I think that the biggest problem here was Nonsense's approach of just kind of spreading out little T3 raids kind of all over the place And he got a lot done up in the north, but in the south and in the middle, I guess he did level the enemy player's air grid. But I think just lack of experimentals. Like, I didn't see a single chicken. There was a Colossus under construction at one point, but you know, there was very little as far as, oh my God, now there's long range artillery coming out from Kinder. Yep, that's gonna take out formerly Marrow's air grid. Marrow appears to have left the game, have left the building. But as I was saying, I think that this really comes down to Nonsense had a decent economy, and I think going for experimentals, like this is the first experimental I've seen out of him. 1 GC alone, betrayed by the country he loves, and now it's only hope in its time of need, or however the line goes. Name that movie if you stuck around this long. But GC is gonna fall. Marrow is pretty much left. Nonsense now control King. But yeah, I think it was just Nonsense's inability to capitalize on the eco that he inherited and crank out a bunch of experimentals, instead going for kind of Tech 3 armies. And I think that the Tech 3 armies were great, but I think that they wore out their welcome about 15 minutes ago, and probably should have converted to GCs or chickens or something else. But anyway, that is my expert analysis on the game. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it this far, like and subscribe if you haven't already. Spin around 7 times, throw salt over your shoulder, and then spit towards the north, and you'll get good luck. And I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.